What's up, you guys? OperationGamer here, coming back with another video for you guys today. Today, I kind of want to talk about one of my more favorite series of all time, that being Persona. Now, a few days ago, as of recording this video, Faz on X released a domain type thing that reads p4re.jp. And he brings to light that 2 years ago, this same thing, except it was p3re.jp, was registered, and then a few months later, we got Persona 3 Reload revealed. Now, this coming up usually means that there's a lot of scramble going around, basically stating that it looks like Persona 4 might be getting a remake. And this spawns a lot of discussion when it comes to Persona 4 and whether or not it actually does need a remake. And I have my own opinions on the topic, and I kind of want to discuss it with you guys today in kind of in a more like freeball type style. I got bullet points that I want to talk about, and I just want to see what you guys think. Like, do you think Persona 4 needs a remake, or do you want a Persona 4 remake, or do you think that this just isn't needed right now? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I have some discussion points that I want to talk about with you guys today, and hopefully you guys stick around till the end of this video. Now, this video isn't going to be me discussing what I want out of a Persona 4 remake. It's going to be more about, like, does it need it? Do we really want a Persona 4 remake right now, or do we just want them to fucking jump on Persona 6 already? Because, I got my discussion topics, so let's talk about this today. If you guys want more videos like this, be sure to hit that like button. If you guys want more Persona content, let me know in the comments below, and let's just get her going. I feel like my thing is going to be RPGs at this point, so I have no problem doing that. Anyway, let's discuss this. Now, first and foremost, do I really think that Persona 4 needs a remake? I mean, listen, I'm open to the idea of Persona 4 getting a remake, but I really don't think in this day and age it really needs one. I mean, Persona 4 Golden is everywhere. It's literally everywhere. It's got an Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, frickin' Steam. Persona 4 Golden is everywhere. And in my personal opinion, I think Persona 4 Golden does really hold up with today's standards in terms of gaming. I mean, you could compare it to Nocturne HD, that it still keeps that PS2 style, and I really do think that this, like, older style of Persona still holds up to this day. I mean, I didn't think about it, like, back then, because Persona 5 was my first Persona game ever played, so I mean, it took me some time to get used to it, but I really do think that Persona 4 Golden, as it looks, I think it works still. I mean, I thought the same thing with Persona 3, honestly, but then, obviously, you know, Persona 3 Reload came out, and my mind changed a little bit, but I still think that Persona 3, FES, and Portable, I still think all of their graphics and everything still holds up to this day, and I will die on that hill. I mean, Reload was a nice touch-up, but I don't think it was a necessary, like, need. But, you know, I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But in my personal opinion, I think the graphics of Persona 4 really does hold up, as well as the gameplay. I really don't know if it needs any of those, like, touch-ups of any sort. Like, I know, like, in Persona 3 Reload, we got, like, we have a phone now, and we can utilize that just like we did in Persona 5. But I think in terms of, like, the style that Persona 4 and Golden are, I don't really think it needs it. I mean, it would be cool to have those quality of life improvements, but I don't think that it needs it. I mean, I had a friend who just got into Persona recently, and he played through Persona 5, and he played through Persona 4, and he says that Persona 4 is his favorite. And I could probably have a discussion with him. Actually, I'll probably do that after this video, now that I think about it. But do I want a Persona 4 remake? I don't really think I need it. I'm open to it, but right now, I don't think it really needs it. And obviously, you know, that brings me to my next point. Does it need it? And my answer is no, I don't think it needs it. It would be cool, but I don't think we need it right now. And kind of moving on to Persona 3 Reload. I think that's going to be another big, like, factor in terms of this whole Persona 4 remake type stuff. And with the reception of Persona 3 Reload, I think will affect a Persona 4 remake very, very heavily. And I'll kind of tell you guys what I mean with it right now. So when Persona 3 Reload got announced, it was met with a lot of hype. A lot of people were really excited because in terms of Persona 3, so many people just wanted a definitive edition of Persona 3. They wanted like everything from FES and Portable. They wanted it all in one package. And I agree. I didn't think that Persona 3 needed a remake. I needed a definitive edition because it was hard to go back to either game because I loved the atmosphere and the open world, not the open world, but like the overworld of Persona 3 FES. I just couldn't really click with the gameplay. Like, I understand that the tactics menu has its followers, but for me, it just doesn't really click with me. And that just made it hard to go back and replay Persona 3 FES. And I haven't even done the answer either, just because I have a hard time getting into the tactics system. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, if you love the tactics menu, absolutely, I can see why you do. Just for me, I prefer my more on-the-fly decision-making, like you get in Persona 4 and 5, and 3 Reload. And then Persona 3 Portable had the controllable party members that I wanted, and you could play the female protagonist, which was an even better bonus. But the overworld and the cutscenes got a huge downgrade. Like, it just got down to more of a graphic novel style, which isn't bad. It doesn't completely kill the immersion for, like, a portable style. But I really don't think that the graphic novel type thing really holds up with Persona, at least in my personal opinion. I mean, it was kind of hard to get around with when I played, like, Q and Q2. Like, I wasn't a really big fan of those types of cutscenes. So, I loved the way that FES looked, and then I loved the way that Portable played. So, I thought a version where the two were mixed together would be really, really great. And I think that's what a lot of people wanted from Persona 3 Reload as well. But when it got released, the reception to Persona 3 Reload was extremely divisive. And not as bad as like Last of Us Part 2 or Vanilla Kingdom Hearts 3 divisive, but still pretty divisive nonetheless. Now, in terms of where I stand with Persona 3 Reload, I personally really enjoy Reload. I think Reload is my preferred way to play the game, but I don't think it's the definitive edition or like this definitive way to play Persona 3. I think it's really good for like newcomers to play it in this style, but I still urge people to go back and try out FES and Portable just because I feel like they do stuff a lot better, like difficulty balancing, absolutely. I think the FES version of Persona 3 is the quote-unquote definitive version of it, just because it gives the game a sense of identity in terms of the tactics menu, and for people who want to dive into that challenge, even though it's not for me personally. So, like, I prefer to play Persona 3 Reload when I'm playing through Persona 3 again, but I do think that FES is the definitive way to play Persona 3 if you really are a fan and want to know what it was actually like. So, Persona 3 Reload, to the general population of the Persona fan base, like, I don't know if like most people really liked it, but I thought it was a good game overall, and I do think that some of the community did see it that way. But there obviously were a lot of critics in terms of Persona 3 Reload when it came to having that as the quote-unquote definitive version of Persona 3, because that's how it was advertised. It was advertised to be this one-stop all version of Persona 3 of what you should be playing. And I think it failed really hard in that regard. I think it missed the mark a lot when it came to Persona 3 Reload. And this isn't my full review of Persona 3 Reload. I want to make a video on it. I tried writing a script like a few years ago. Not a few years ago. Like a year or so ago, where I was going to be doing a review with my friend Jonah on Persona 3 Reload and what we liked and what we disliked about it. I thought it was going to be a cool project. But I will kind of give you like the general oversense of Reload. And I've always been kind of nervous to talk about Reload just because of the reception of that game. I mean, I got the same way with Final Fantasy 16, and then I realized that I didn't fucking care what other people thought. But I still hadn't gotten around to trying and make a Reload review, which I know I should. But anyway, regardless, Like, overall, I think that Reload is my preferred version of playing Persona 3, but I can recognize where I think that it missed the mark a lot in terms of being the definitive way to play the game. For example, obviously the biggest thing is the lack of portable assets in it. I think the only like portable asset that we got in it, I could be wrong, once again, at least the biggest thing that portable added that was put into Reload was the controllable party members. And like I said, there could be like different like shops or anything that I could have missed in terms of that, but that's the only big thing from portable that I saw in there. There was no female protagonist, which a lot of people were up in arms about. I personally didn't mind it just because I know the amount of work that would go into creating the alternate route of the female protagonist. But I do think that it would have been cool, and modders have been modding it on the scene, which is so cool to see. But I do understand why they didn't add the female protagonist, just because of all the work that would go into it. But regardless, whatever. The FES enhancements, like Persona 3 Reload was basically supposed to be like a re-enhanced version of the original Persona 3. Not FES, not portable, the original Persona 3 that everyone else forgot about. That's basically how it kind of ended up. I mean, of course, we got Aigis' social link in terms of the FES content, but there are a lot of marks that I do think that Reload did miss in order to bring everyone else into it. Obviously, the biggest thing was the female protagonist, and something else that I kind of really wanted to point you guys towards is the tactics menu as well. Now, I understand that a lot of people wanted to do the controllable party members type thing, but the tactics menu was a big part of the original FES, and people did enjoy that. People do enjoy that in, like, even before the controllable party members. Like there are fans of that system out there. And unfortunately, Reload does not deliver for those fans who wanted that type of gameplay experience. And one person that I do want to point towards that kind of goes into this a little bit more is Nam's Compendium. Now, he released an entire video of Persona 3 Reload, his review, and a lot of it was negative on the game. And as much as there are some points that I don't agree with him on, I do think that he does have some good points in terms of Persona 3 Reload and how it did miss some of those marks. The tactics menu was a big thing that he did drop, and I do think that they should have added that for the players who wanted that experience. I mean, I understand there's like new attacks and theurgies and baton passing now. I guess, well, now it's called shifting. But that was a big thing that some people did take gripes with, that it didn't add the original tactics menu in the game. And honestly, I agree with that. I think, even though I wouldn't have used it personally, I think if this was supposed to be the definitive way to play Persona 3, it should have added that in. Absolutely. And then theurgies was another like hit or miss thing. Like, a lot of people were kind of upset that the game felt extremely easy. I mean, for me personally, I could kind of feel it towards the end where we're starting to get a little bit more easy. And the theurgy attacks were definitely a big contributor to that. And it got to the point where I was just like, all right, I'm kind of done using theurgy attacks for a little bit. And I do agree that the balance does get very thrown off because of theurgy attacks, because they're extremely safe. At the beginning, they're not extremely powerful, but as soon as you unlock Scarlet Havoc is like the biggest contender with this, it's just game over. Like, game over for the enemies, I mean. And I definitely do think that there should have been a way to rebalance that to where it still had its initial challenge, because I felt it at the beginning before the theurgy attacks. I could feel Persona 3's original challenge, and I don't like using challenge to like rate games, but like I can see how balancing could be thrown off because of an extremely broken mechanic. Hell, Golden was kind of the same way in terms of its shuffle time. Like, you could break that shit a lot, and you could just steamroll through the game. I steamrolled through the whole game with just Yoshitsune on my side when in my New Game Plus profile, obviously. Maybe that doesn't mean much. But I can recognize games' flaws that I love and see how it could impact future projects. Then this kind of brings us back around to the Persona 4 Remake. And even Nam, at the end of his video, said that he would be nervous about a Persona 4 Remake because it's one of his favorite games of all time. It might even been his favorite game. It's been a minute since I've watched his video. And he calls to the attention of, like, if this is how Persona 4's remake is going to be, I have no interest in it. And honestly, I don't really blame him. Once again, this was supposed to be the definitive version of Persona 3 that was given to us, and if this is how it's being marketed again for a Persona 4 remake, that's going to be detrimental. I think it would be detrimental to basically market it the same way, because literally something that could have been the prime way to play Persona 3, you literally just throw back on the pile of ways to play Persona 3, and it's sad. It really is sad. Even though I love Reload, even though I like playing Reload more than the other versions, I can see where it flops in terms of keeping the fan base from loving it. And it's heartbreaking to see that the project that was so hyped, and I've seen it before, obviously, you know, Last of Us Part 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, where these expectations were set just to have them all crumbling down. It's devastating to see. And I think expectations are one of the biggest game killers ever. Just because people set these expectations so high to where people are expecting this, expecting that, just to not get that, and then hate on the game after that. When a really, really great product is in there, but people refuse to see it because they didn't get what they were expecting. And you can kind of see The Last of Us Part 2 as well. Apparently in their marketing campaign, they had a trailer where Joel was talking to Ellie in one cutscene, and they swapped that out with Jesse instead, and people fucking blew up on that shit. And I can understand why. Even though I love The Last of Us Part 2, I can understand where people get pissy for having these expectations set by developers. But regardless, I really do think that the divisiveness of Persona 3 Reload is definitely going to affect a Persona 4 remake from selling. Look, listen to me. I'll probably buy it. Knowing me, I am an Atlas junkie. I love Persona. I'm probably going to buy it anyways if I have the money. I still don't have Metaphor yet, which I know I really, really need to get Metaphor. I want to play Metaphor. I'm just in tight spots right now. But the game's going to sell, absolutely. But I definitely do think that the feedback on a Persona 4 remake will definitely affect the sales of it, based on how the feedback was from Persona 3 Reload. And I really do hope that Atlas does take into consideration what people are saying about Reload, because once again, I think there's a lot of stupid video game opinions all over the place, but when they're actually like constructive and game developers don't actually listen to what people are trying to say, then the product could just get worse. Let me bring up Kingdom Hearts 3 actually. When Kingdom Hearts 3 was released, there was a lot of feedback that was given to it. A lot of negative feedback. And there was, like, the lack of extra bosses. There's only one. No Final Fantasy characters, which I didn't personally think was a bother. But I do agree that I wish there would have been some more extra bosses and more humanoid bosses at that. And then they released the DLC of Remind, where also the ending was a little bit hit or miss. But then they released Remind, which is an extra part or scenario explaining the ending a little bit better. They had the Limit Cut episode, which had all of the organization bosses, and then the secret boss, which I thought, I mean, even though, it costed more money, when I feel like some of it should have been in the original game in the first place, I still think that feedback, like them listening to it, made the game better, because Skyward Wing, another Kingdom Hearts YouTuber that I watch, he even said, like, he thinks that Remind saved Kingdom Hearts, because now it's probably one of his favorites. Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 are apparently very much fighting it. And I can see the impact, like, absolutely. And that's where I'm hoping that a Persona 4 remake would go, where Atlas would listen to the feedback of Persona 3 Reload and put that into a Persona 4 remake. And that's just my opinion, obviously. And I really, really do hope that if a Persona 4 remake does get released, I hope that the feedback is listened to, and I really do hope it does well. And it really is scary for this one in particular because Persona 4 is extremely loved. Now, yes, a lot of people love Persona 3, but of course there was that war of FES versus Portable. That was always going on. Persona 4 doesn't really have that. I mean, of course you have the Persona 4 PS2 version and the Golden, but it doesn't have that same, like, difference level like FES and Portable had. Golden added some extra scenes, a new social link that honestly I feel like are a little bit divisive among the community as well. Like, I think the Marie social link as well as the band scene were a couple of more divisive takes. And of course, you know, the PS2 version didn't have that, but I played the PS2 version first and then played Golden, and I did like Golden more, but I do think that the PS2 version still holds up and it's still cheap to get. So, in terms of that, if you have a preferred version, I think it's still cheap and easy to get your hands on regardless. So, I don't know what a Persona 4 remake would do in terms of trying to modernize it or make it more accessible, because it's already accessible everywhere and it's also cheap to get. So I don't know what the goal of a Persona 4 remake would be, except to get more money out of fans, obviously, and to modernize Persona 4. And I really don't think that Persona 4 needs the modernization. I think it does just fine on its own. But once again, that's just my opinion. Other people could have their own opinions about this. Please let me know in the comments below. But I really don't think that Persona 4, in this day and age, really needs the remake treatment, I guess is the best words to say. It really does not need that remake treatment. What I do think needs that remake treatment, and I think a lot of Persona fans would agree with this, is Persona 1, Persona 2 Innocent Sin, and Eternal Punishment. People have been screaming to Atlus to either re-release all three of those games or get a remake going of these games. I think that a remake on those two games would be a much, much, much smarter idea in terms of, you know, getting people hyped and excited about the series, because these games are so hard to get your hands on. They're fucking expensive online. Like, I think Eternal Punishment, it wasn't even released on the PSP in English in the US, but of course Innocent Sin was, but that shit is fucking expensive as shit. $200+ talking expensive. And the only way I was actually able to play those games was on my PS Vita, on the Vita store, downloading Persona 1 and 2 Innocent Sin, and then eventually Eternal Punishment for the PS1 version onto my PS3. And even then, we don't know how long the Vita store is going to be lasting. So those games will probably continue to go up in price unless there's something else we can do where you could re-release them on Steam once again, just like you did with Golden, because Golden beforehand was stuck to the Vita. And we finally got it on Steam, and then eventually to the other platforms. I think it would be much smarter to either re-release Persona 1, 2, and... yeah, Persona 1, 2 Innocent Sin, and 2 Eternal Punishment, either like a Steam release or on the current PlayStation stores, or get a remake going of one of those, because there are raving fans of those games that want those remakes. Hell, I really want those remakes. Persona 1 isn't my favorite in the series, and I liked Innocent Sin, but the gameplay needs a big overhaul in terms of, you know, not being brain dead. And Eternal Punishment, I enjoyed it in terms of the difficulty, but, like, I played it on the PS1, and I still have my issues with it. But I think those three games need the remake treatment or remaster treatment more than Persona 4 does. And I'm, like I said, once again, I am nervous for the Persona 4 fan base, because this game is, like, very, very much loved. I don't know if it's on the same scale as, like, you know, Final Fantasy VII, but, oh god, that game also gets extremely bombed because of the changes that was made in the remake projects for Final Fantasy VII. And if you say like one bad thing about 7 or the remake or vice versa or whatever, people go up in arms and go to fucking war with you. Hell, on my Final Fantasy ranking video, I played Remake as a joke, and someone said that I committed war, which is completely ridiculous. It was just a joke, and people get so up in arms about their favorite games, and I'm afraid the same thing is going to happen with Persona 4. Once again, I'm not saying that Persona 3 wasn't as loved as Persona 4, but looking at it as a whole, it's clear to me that it seems like Persona 4 is the more favorite one in the community. Once again, I could be wrong, but a lot of times when I ask people what their favorite Persona game was, it's Persona 4. I have two friends who have played both Persona 4 and Persona 5, and you know, they played 5 first and then 4, and they both said that 4 was their favorite game. Hell, I don't even know if I'm convinced that Persona 4 is my favorite. Persona 4 and 5, they definitely shuffle with each other, and 3, I love 3, but the multiple versions that you get to play with it is so hard to keep up with that it's really hard for that to make my favorite of the games. But regardless, in conclusion to this whole thing, does Persona 4 need a remake? No. I don't think that Persona 4 needs a remake. Am I open to the idea of Persona 4 getting a remake? Absolutely. I'm gonna buy it. I'm an Atlas junkie. I don't fucking care. But I don't know if Persona 4 needs the remake right now. I think a lot of people either just want a re-release of Persona 1, 2, Innocent Sin, and Eternal Punishment, or they just want fucking Persona 6 already. Atlas, what are you doing? Give us Persona 6 already, for fuck's sake! Anyway, that's all I really want to talk about in this video. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like on the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the Persona 4 quote-unquote rumored remake. Are you guys excited for it? Do you guys think we need one? What do you guys want out of a Persona 4 remake? Let me know in the comments below. I think Jonah and I are probably going to do another video just like we did when Persona 3 Reload was announced. If it does get announced, then I will do a video just talking about like what would I want out of it? What would I need from a Persona 4 remake to be worth paying $60+ for, $70+? Games are fucking expensive, man. I hate it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do you guys on that YouTube? Follow me on X at OperationGamer1. All that cool stuff. I'm sorry for kind of the more lackluster video for March. I'm hoping by the end of April I will be having my big video that I've been working on for the past couple months done. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.